Hi, Namaskaram. I'm recording this video after teaching a child mathematics. About she's in sixth standard. Uh, so, so it just occurred to me that she's so brilliant in mathematics. She loves geometry. She's artistic. She's expressive and analytical, thinking about beautiful aspects and understands things in her own beautiful way. And she's not going to get marks, right? The system of education is so broken that it will discard her interest in mathematics. It will say that you are not sufficient, adequate enough to get marks. So what are these marks, guys? So I grew up in Chennai and Tanjore, right? It's a small story about me. It in I was studying in state board schools, matriculation before and state board. State board and CBSE. There are two boards, right? There's two options: upper caste, lower caste. Kind of a distinction used to be there. I never used to understand what that upper caste was about, but I waited patiently. But I was in the lower caste, which is state board, which is rote based learning. Supposedly, you just memorize and vomit back on the paper. State board was bad. All right. CBSE was something else. So I waited. I went to the US, did my PhD there, and throughout the journey, rubbing shoulders with a lot of CBSE guys, even in college, right? I never used to see a spark as if they understood something. It is something else that has happened in their curriculum that has make them slightly different. I did not understand what the difference is, but today I understood when I was teaching this child. This child who's in sixth standard, right? She's very, very, soft. She appreciates the art behind mathematics. She enjoys the how delicate that subject is, and deals with the questions as if the questions are trying to help her. She's answering the questions as if the questions are trying to help her gain deeper understanding. But the questions are analytical nonsense. They are an analytical nonsense. They are created for arrogant students. They're created to bring out the arrogance in the child so that they can crack something insignificant, trivial, some kind of small twist, turns, this, that, in every problem. Why is that created? Right? Is that real world really? Should problems be like that? Should it expect arrogance out of children, or should it expect children to love subjects more? Why is it expecting arrogance out of children? Because this is going to be very complex, guys. I'm crunching my research for the last couple of years in just few sentences now. Please stop and hear it again and again. But the key message is: pull your kids out of school if you want them to really understand mathematics and science. They cannot understand science and math in school. Pull them out. That is the key message, and I'm going to explain to you in the next few minutes why. Correct? So let's take the best institution in India, IITs. And how do they admit kids? IIT JEE entrance examination. And what does this entrance examination test on? Math, physics, and chemistry. Chemistry is just mostly joy. Mathematically inclined physics and maths is where the core is. What do they do to filter children out? They create an exam where they will create 100 different marks. 100 different marks. If a child takes an exam, it wants to get 100 marks, but an examiner wants 100 different marks. I'll repeat that. If a child takes an exam, it wants 100 full marks. But if an examiner creates an exam, he wants to create 100 different marks to bucket children into different spots and make money out of each of them. He wants a spread. How does he create the spread with a question paper with such beautiful children? We're very intelligent. How do you create a spread? You analytically bloat every problem, creating twists and turns that are familiar only to a small portion of the people because of their tuition, because of their access to English from childhood, because all these problems have 4 or 5 lines of English, because of they were fed well, they are rich, there are many other resources, and they have been given formulas at different stages of lives. So they make different problems wrong in different ways. It is always a formula based injection, right? So now that is how they create that spread. This is an absolute scam. This institute here, this whole education system behind supporting these tuitions and market of splitting this into colleges is an absolute scam. I'm out of teaching children, very, very young children who are all so brilliant, who are asking so many deep questions. If third standard kids question, if the teachers who are watching this, right, who are feeling very passionate, how can this guy talk about education system? If they can answer, if you can answer their questions, third standard kids, mathematics questions. If you can answer right, I'll seriously pull back this video and I'll apologize, fall flat on your floor. None of their questions are answered. They are all suppressed. Suppressed, big time they are suppressed. Why, uncle? 90 degrees. L shape is 90 degrees. Why? Why not 100? Why not 200? Where did this number 100 come from? Fractions, 1 divided by 5. Is repeated subtraction, but where are you subtracting in 1 divided by 5? Percentages. Why is it x by y into 100? Why are you multiplying into 100? Every day it is just pouring like, when you opened a channel to say, kid, you can throw any of your question to me. It is just pouring and is making us adults look really stupid and think about it from the first time in a fresh angle, right? You have to be bold enough for that. You need to have courage for that. Education systems do not have that courage. Your teachers do not have that courage. Apologize, guys. You have to realize this mistake. Otherwise, you will finish your life teaching absolute nonsense to children in the name of mathematics. And the day will come when you will teach calculus. You will pretend that the physics teacher will teach calculus, and the physics teacher will pretend math teacher will teach calculus, and you will run away from the system. Right? None of you will be technically inclined, technologically inclined, and people will say, oh, this is a problem with Indian education system. No, this is a problem with global education system. I've been in the US for 9 years. Everywhere, they are only analytically testing the bullshit of the children. Analytically means puzzles. Why puzzles? If I have an object in my hand, it has a mass, it has velocity and acceleration, gravity, finishes. The problem finishes. It's a cute concept problem in a very, very small way. But analytically bloat it, give an angle to this, give something to this, give something to that. Bloat it just enough so that it doesn't fit in that time zone. So that the child is not able to answer unless the child has already seen it. It's a coaching scam that is happening. Right? So all this NCERT book business is bullshit. I'm reading those books and I'm wondering what kind of an English is it written in? Is it testing the understanding? Is it giving more information? No. It is expecting your child to be arrogant. It wants your child to pick up your notebook as if, I've cracked this. Okay, I'm done with school. Where is my college now? I've cracked this. Where is my life now? Can you crack life like that? Can you crack life like that, guys? How many challenges they'll face in their lives and how empathetic they have to be with their own, knowledge, with what they have learned. And isn't that the clear problem for this whole world? That people are not empathetic enough because they have not been taught. They've been taught how to be arrogant at a young age in the schools. They've been taught to compare on the stupid examinations when they're young, right? They come back and say, uncle, I got 90, I got 95, I got 90. Uncle, will I get this mark? What crap is this? To children, to young children, you're trying to prove this. So guys, my sincere advice to you is, if you're not financially depressed, if you're not immediately looking for your child to get into a college and immediately, make us living and save your own family, right? Don't take my advice. I mean, that is important, more important. Livelihood is important. But for rest of us who are all thinking that, wow, our child will fill the gap that we couldn't fill in our lives. No. Our child will somehow find expressions. No. Pull them out of school. Please pull them out of school. Is this board better? IGCSE better? This better? That better? This better? No. Right? We can ask those questions later on if they're fresh in their mind to even learn something useful. If you have injected something wrong in their mind, to unlearn them takes hours and hours and hours. To learn, the child learns it so fast and it gets betrayed if that is not the right one. Today, entirely wrong. Science and math, the way it is taught in any school, it is wrong. It has to be question based. It has to be discussion based. It has to come out from the child. People will say, no, where is the system to support that? Communities have to support that. Our living communities have to support that. People like me, people like you who's watching this video, you have to come out and say, let me unlearn everything and provide this child the space to ask questions confidently. And do not keep a knife on its head and say, the exam is tomorrow, exam is day after tomorrow. Crunch this nonsense. Do it like this. Don't teach him shortcuts. Right? Let him experience life. Let him find him or her find her own passion beautifully. When the time comes, guys, I'm talking to very, very, very important people about this. Very important people about this. And I'm going to be very vocal as well because I've cracked this landscape completely. So it's just a matter of time before we're going to find out how we're going to do this. So it is going to happen. It's just a question of time. But I'm sending this video in a hurry because I don't want you to be late. I don't want you to have done the damage about about these childhood already, teaching him everything that is wrong and hoping for the best. So, short message, but just leaving you with these thoughts. Anybody wants to challenge, very, very welcome.